Okay, people from all over the world I see here. That's so cool. Okay, I think we can begin. I shall mute you all. Mute. Okay. 1 second. Speak of you. Okay, hello everybody. Together with you is Olga. It's our second class at Tango Exercise Marathon. Yesterday we were talking about the work of the ribs. Today we're going to talk about the work of the hip joints. But first of all, let's warm up, and we will do it with the music. And it's going to be something quick. You'll just have to repeat. So I won't have to explain probably. So let's do it with the music. Okay, today we're listening to the music by Pablo Montanelli, a very nice pianist. I love him very much. I think this one will be appropriate. Just go up. Let's get them warm. Great. Now let's walk on your heels. Now let's walk on the outer side of the feet and on the inner side of your feet and on your toes. And on your heels, and on your toes, and on your heels, and on the outer part, and on the inner part. Okay, and let's add to our warm-up the following thing. Remember, like when we worked with the core yesterday, we found a few connections in the body. First of all, side-side connection, like these muscles in the front part of our core. These muscles in the side of our core, making our free hip go up. And we can now also add the same muscles in the back of our core. Yeah, right here. So what we are going to do will be this. With the music, we'll just contract the muscles on one side of our body. First of all, simply front part, but just one side, you see? Not the whole core, just one side of the core. Then will be this side, exactly, not front and not back, and then will be the back side. And then we'll just change the axis. So waking the core up, Okay? Let's do it with the same Olga. I think it's fun. Go. With diagonal movement, but we're not going to do it now because this is kind of harder, what we were doing right now. Okay, I think everybody has arrived by this moment and we can do a little bit of theoretical talks. Why actually? We are talking about these ribs and hips and all that, discussing tango dancing. Well, the problem or the benefit is that we normally dance tango for a long time. So we don't just dance one song and go home. We dance the whole milonga. And if we're doing something wrong continuously with our body, it can potentially cause lots of problems. So what is the typical situation of a person who comes to class? He is told, keep your front position, find the connection with the partner. What does he do? Here's the partner, I want to keep the connection. And what happens? Well, he can't keep the connection like this. He can't dance like this. It's not a big problem, really. But he cannot maintain this position long. So the muscles get very tired. And what happens then? And he now is dancing with his hips forward. And this is already a problem because like this, we cannot keep the connection. There is no person in the world who says, I want to dance with my hips forward. I want to dance tango like this. No, everybody says, but I am trying to maintain this forward position. They just cannot manage to do this. So, well, yesterday we talked about the ribs, and this helps with the upper part of the problem. Here. Already the upper part of my back is not that stressed. I can maintain this position longer. Another problem, as you can guess, lies here. Because we don't need this position for dancing, we need rather this position. And like this, we can dance comfortably for hours and hours and hours, and we can be truly connected to the floor, to the person, to the music, and to ourselves finally. But the idea just to put your hips down doesn't usually help, because it's very important to understand which muscles in our legs we are using more and which we are using less, and not to have the joints blocked. So right now, let's just warm up the joints a little bit to be able to work with them later. So very easy exercises like, I don't know, in any fitness workout. And while we are doing them, I will continue speaking a little bit more, maybe. So first of all, we will be just rotating the hip joints. So the idea is just to get them warm, so it has nothing to do with tango right now. Don't forget to change the direction. It would be good if you could concentrate on the joint, if you could really feel the movement in it, whether it is smooth or not, or where it's blocked at some part or not. I don't know, maybe something else you can feel about the joint. You can feel it getting warmer, waking up and all that. Okay, good. Now, let's do this kind of movement. I'm moving my head from the joint forward and back. Only the joint. I'm not moving my back or my core. So my core is working and it doesn't let me bend in the back. Okay, very well. I suggest that you don't do it too quickly. Control this movement. Feel what's going on in the joint. And last thing to work with it, forward, backward. Forward, sorry, not backward, side. Forward and side. You don't need to open it too much. Up to the point you feel comfortable with. And you're working on your balance too. So anyway, this is a good exercise. Okay, why do we need this kind of stuff? Because we want the joint to be free in its articulation. And such exercise and many others actually, anything you can find in Pilates or in yoga is beneficial for the health of your joints. Not anything, but many of them. Okay, let's change the side. So first of all, rotation. Okay, great. Remember, think of your joint. Imagine the bone rotating in the joint. Okay, change the direction. Very well. Now, let's do this forward and backward movement. Remember your core active. It doesn't let you bend. It doesn't let you work with your back. Okay, a few more times. Okay, and now let's do the opening. So, open and close. Open and close. Open and close. Open and close. And maybe 8 more or 7 more. Okay. Remember, if you keep your core active here, you will have more balance. Okay, great. Now let's take 2 breaths. And we'll have to think a little, like what kind of movement is available in this joint. So obviously, these are the movements we have just been doing. So this is first of all the movement of the leg, forward, backward, and side. Yes? Do it a few times, just feel how the bone is moving inside the joint. Okay, do it with another leg too. You don't need to make it beautiful. You need to make sure the bone is moving. But obviously it is if you have come here by any means. Okay, then there is this possibility of rotation. Like here in the shoulder, there is rotation. So let's try this. Remember, our free hip always going down, so we don't put it up. Let's rotate the leg in the joint. This is not such a big movement as in the shoulder, but still, it is available. Feel the bone moving. Feel what's going on. Okay, change the side. Okay, normally This rotation is referred to as opening. Yes, sometimes we need to open the leg or close the leg, usually to make some kind of embellishment. But we're not talking about embellishments right now in this class. We're talking about the basics. Okay, now that you have done this, let's think of this idea that there is one more movement in the joint we normally don't talk about. And this isn't exactly a movement in the joint. It has to do with everything around the joint as well. And it has to do with this line where your leg is connected to your body. Find it in your own body, find its middle. So you'll find some kind of a point here. You can feel it with your fingers. I have a model here. So right here is this line I'm talking about, where the leg is connected to the body. Yeah, hello to your teddy bear from my teddy bear. Okay, and right here in the middle of this line, you can feel like your finger can go a little bit inside. Feel free to touch it with your own finger. If you're wearing jeans, just put it inside your pocket and feel this place. It's very, very important. Why? So first of all, let's show with the teddy. We can find two kinds of position with this dot. One, when it is going outside, and one, when it's going inside. And it has to do a little bit with rotation, but not only. Let's see at the example of not a teddy bear, but me. So this is this dot. I call it outside and inside position, but some people call it inside about this rotation of the hip, so it's just a matter of terms. When it's going inside, my back is getting relaxed, and the only muscle I'm really using is the adductor. The rest of the muscles are pretty much relaxed, not fully relaxed, of course, because I'm standing, but still. Look what's happening if this place I'm pushing outside. At this very moment, the front muscles of my hips get tensed. Try it with yours. So how to feel whether your muscle is working or not. If it is hard, it is working. If it is relaxed, it is soft. So have a try. If you are pushing these dots forward or outside, then immediately your front part of the leg starts working and your butt probably starts working too. So it's this kind of position. And yeah, I look like I'm maintaining the position forward with the hips back, like I could dance tango with this, but there's a certain problem about it. So first of all, let's find this movement in these dots. So put your fingers here and push them with your muscles, push them forward, push them outside, and then with your fingers, push here and let them go inside. It's like here you're folding a little bit, just a little bit. This is a very small movement. This may be just a centimeter, but this is a very important centimeter. So let's work. I'm going to do it big to show you, but you can do it pretty small. Okay, so we'll go outside. See, I'm stretched here and inside. In some of the Eastern practices, they call it exhale and inhale. Okay, on the bone or soft tissue, soft, where your finger can go a little bit inside, so it's lower than the bone. The bone is here. Look, here's the bone, here's this dot. Yes, so it's a little bit lower. Okay, so outside and inside, outside and inside, outside and inside. You can say exhale and inhale here. I don't know, whatever works for you. So like you are letting some energy out or you are keeping this energy in, if you believe in energy, of course. If you don't, just feel what's going on with your body. Okay, and as an experiment, so you go forward, you go out, and touch the front muscles. They're supposed to be really, really hard because you cannot go outside without using them. And most probably these parts will be working as well. When you go inside, these muscles are relaxing. These are relaxing as well. But the adductor starts working, the inner thigh muscle. Okay, now we're going to do this using just one axis. One leg will put forward, like in a projection, and we're again working. with this outside movement and inside movement. Again, it's pretty small, but it's very, very important. Continue doing it. I will just come up to the screen and explain something. Or let's do this leg together, and when we move to another one, I will come up to the screen. Okay, let's change the side. Outside and inside. Outside and inside. Continue doing. There is a little bit of rotation in this movement, like in the shoulder. Look, what I suggest is this outside movement, inside movement, outside movement, inside movement. There is a little bit of rotation, but I could do the rotation without this inner movement, or I could do the inner movement with a lot of rotation. What I need is just this movement inside. Yeah? But not much of rotation, but some rotation is okay. So let's have a look at a few points which are important here. So first of all, when we have this movement going outside, look what happens to the foot. It goes to the outer part, which doesn't look nice for dancing. And we are putting all the tension to the outer sides of my legs, and that means that I don't really have a proper balance for dancing. When we have this movement inside here in these points, my foot becomes like a foot of a normal person. I don't need to do anything special with it to make it look good. Have a look at yours. Most probably it's the same. If you go outside and forward with your hips, it's not much forward. Yes, it's just a little bit forward. They're still further back than the chest, for example. So it's probably still the same appropriate for dancing position. But you have a problem with your foot, and sometimes you can hear from your teacher, okay, change something with your foot. So you keep this position in your hips and you try to do something with your foot, and then your back is tired, your hips are tired, your foot is tired, and the only thing you need to do is just get these points inside. And then all the lower part of your body will be relaxing. Let's just do it again to the other foot to be okay. So outside, and when we go inside, my back relaxes, my hips relax, and my foot goes into the normal position. Okay, now just a little bit more of thinking. Yes, this is an exercise marathon, but if we don't understand why we need these exercises, they don't work. Why do we need this for movement? Let's have a look at the typical movement, the movement front, and the movement back. Yesterday we were talking about the idea of how to project, and we're going to continue this idea tomorrow. But again, to make the movement, we need to push the floor in the necessary direction. And in the perfect world, we don't want to kind of fall in this direction. We want to have this movement under control and to be able to go back. Let's see what happens if these points are going outside. So my ribs are still closed, I'm still in the normal dancing position, I'm okay, but my back is tensed, and when I try to push forward for projection, first of all, I can't make it long, because here it's already not under control. And it's very hard for me to get back, because my front muscles of the thighs are blocked, because they're already working very hard. If I have this movement inside in my hips, then I can push up to here and still it's under control, and I can easily go back because my thigh muscles are pretty much relaxed and they can take this work if I need them. And it's the same idea with the step back, but even harder, because if I have this movement outside in my hips and I try to project backwards, there is very much tension on my lower back. So it's even dangerous for my back if I try to project more, and I'm really working at this moment to keep the connection with my partner, to project and not to collapse. The moment I have this movement inside, in this place, I can project much and much more, and I'm pretty much relaxed because I don't need the biggest thigh muscles, and they can take work because they are not used in my normal life. Okay, let's try this idea with this projection, just for you to believe that I'm not lying, that it really works. So create this movement outside in your hip joints here, and try to project forward and feel which parts of your body are really working. So project in terms of pushing the axis forward and how far forward you can actually go and how hard it is for your foot and for your hips. And now, movement inside in your base leg, in your free leg, and you can project even more from the point where you already were. And you are pretty much relaxed, so both feet are not working that much. Lower back is not working. The core is working, yes. The core is always working. Let's try the same with the backside movement. So first, hips outside, so front muscles working, back muscles working, everything is working. And I'm pushing my axis backwards, trying to project, and I'm analyzing which muscles in my body are working. All of them actually, all of them. And here at the point where I no longer control this projection, I mean, this is the very end of my own axis, I'm letting this movement go in my hips and I can project more. And I feel like I'm relaxed and I can really push the floor to go much backwards if I need this. Okay, let's take a breath. Take a sip of water and we'll continue working with this idea. Okay, no questions yet. That's good. Why else this movement is extremely important for our health? Always, there is some kind of movement which is kind of too much for our body. And if we have our hips working outside, and for example, there is too much pressure on me, my hips will have this amortization to the side. And this is absolutely not good for my hips because my joint is not designed for this kind of work. Yes, if this is the head of the joint and this is the bone, if the bone is pushing to the side, this is absolutely not good for the joint. The hips are designed to move backwards and forward. And that is why all this pressure and all that is supposed to go backwards. So this is where we look for the balance in tango. Not this, but this. And this gives me much more freedom of balance, much more freedom of movement. But if these parts are going outside and they are blocked, then I cannot fully use this movement backwards. So right now we are going to work with this balance movement backwards because always each of us loses the balance. It happens all the time and it's okay. We just need to find it quickly. So one base leg, your free leg is up and you just push yourself backwards and you find this balance. And you find this balance with your hips going backwards. And if you have those points inside, this is actually not a problem. I can get the contact with my potential partner. Well, there is no partner in front if I'm having this movement in my leg, of course, but anyway, like, will be the same with the leg backwards. It's just easier this way. Okay, change the leg. So this is a very easy movement for the balance. This is very good for your body. Absolutely no problems with it. Okay, good. So our habit to find balance with the hips is a good idea because this is the heaviest part of our body, especially for women. And it's easiest to find the balance with the hip zone, but not going to the side. Because this is what happens if these zones are blocked. Going mostly to the back and just a little bit to the side, just a little bit. So either down or back. Okay, good. And there is one more movement which is directly connected with these parts, and it is extremely dangerous if you have these parts wrong because you don't want your joints ruined. And this is the front ballet. Let's see what happens if these dots are going outside. What happens with the ballet? I'm pushing with my bone to the joint, to the side, and each time I do a baleo, I put lots of pressure on my hip joint. And this is potentially very troublesome. This is the reason why I'm having some problem with my joints, because I didn't realize it first. It took me months or maybe years to realize it. And all these years I was doing this baleo like this. And yeah, right now one of the joints is not working properly. But this is a natural reaction of our body. I need to put this energy somewhere and I'm putting it there. But this doesn't work. This is troublesome for your joint. This sends you out of balance. Or in the worst case, it doesn't give you a nice baleo anyway. So what we need to do is to fold a little bit here, and thus my baleo will be comfortable. My free part will be relaxed. I will have no gap here. I will look nice, I will look balanced, and all this lies in just one small part of your body. This 1 centimeter of work makes this huge difference. So now let's work very slow to make sure you're not going to hurt your joints. I know we have lots of classes on the topic of baleo at the marathon. That's why I'm not going to talk much about it. We're going to think of this movement precisely. So what's going on? I have my leg prepared, yes? So I have this comfortable position of mine, and I'm preparing the leg. There is this contra body work, of course, but still, my leg is already prepared. So what happens next? I will come closer. Okay. I fold in here. At the moment when I'm projecting this rib towards this front leg of mine, I'm folding here in the joint. Boom. It's like, if I show it big, it will be like this. But not like this, of course, because I'm still stretched in my baseline. And let's work very slow. At the same time, I'm pushing this rib towards my free leg, and I'm folding here in this part of me. Just 1 centimeter work. Slow. Slow and slow. Okay, guys, do this movement pretty much as well as in the Adorno, especially in Hero. That's why it's a good idea. Anyway, even if you don't do this baleo, it makes your joint work in the right way. Let's change the side. So first of all, let's prepare our body. So contra body position, rib to the free leg, and we are ready to work. Make sure you're standing high on your base leg. You're not sitting here, because otherwise it won't work at all. Okay, now we're pushing the rib more to the free leg and fold in here. Fold in here. Fold in here. Fold in here. Okay, continue doing this. Do it very slow. It's okay. I know that Julia is used to saying that the baleo happens in the knee of the base leg. What I'm saying does not contradict this at all, because for a baleo to happen in the knee, we need the connection between the center and the knee, don't we? So, if we don't have our hip joint working properly, then one chain, one part of the sequence is turned off, and that's why my active center doesn't give this idea directly to the knee. So normally it works like this. So center, hip, knee, center, hip, knee, center, hip, knee. But if my hip is turned off, this connection center and knee doesn't work properly. And very often the problem with baleo lies right here in this small rotation or movement inside in the hip joint. I'm going to turn on the music to work with this idea. You can work at any speed. You can work fast, but please put on one hand right here on the rib, another here on the zone of your hip joint. Feel that you're really pushing with your rib and that you're really having this little fold in your hip joint. Or you can work very slow, trying to feel what's actually going on here. Make sure you're not losing your balance, and this is comfortable for you. And I will turn on another song by Paolo Montanelli. I just like it a lot. I think you'll like it too. Here. Okay, we're not going to work all of the song because we are limited, we are pressed for time. So the problem is that when we see maestros doing this kind of stuff, like baleos and all that, this movement inside the joint is not something exactly visible, because how the person looks from the outside depends on how developed his muscles are, on is everything okay with his spine or not. There can be various things. So a person can look as if he is stretched forward here, but in the reality, his joints are free here, so he has this movement inside and his back is relaxed, but it might look as if it is toned. It depends on, I don't know, how developed really his muscles are, whether he is working out a lot or not. So what we need is not the impression from the outside. Though very often we can, of course, tell if the person is blocked here in the ribs and in the hips, if he is closed and relaxed in the ribs, if he is released here in the hips. Yes, this is visible. We can make it visible, but sometimes it's not visible. And this is all the thing about tango. Nothing is happening from the outside, but lots of things are happening inside the couple. And these technical things we are doing, we normally just need them to connect with our partner properly, because if I'm thinking about losing my balance or my back working and aching or anything else, I cannot connect to my partner, have nothing to give him. If I'm standing on my own ground, I'm relaxed and grounded and balanced, then I can give a lot. I can put a lot of expression into the dance, I can put a lot of emotion into the couple, and then I will be truly connected. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. If you have no questions, then we will see how this idea works with, for example, back baleo. If you have questions, type them or turn on the microphone and I will answer. Very often, this is mostly for the girls, of course, but sometimes guys do a back baleo too. We want to do a very high baleo, and we start this movement here in the back, and we totally forget about the hip joints, and what happens is that our baleo is not high at all, and it is fully blocked. Right now, stand in this position. Let's do this. We'll stand on one line, we'll push these places forward as we have agreed, we'll keep ribs closed, not to put too much tension on the back, and see how high you can lift up your legs. So this is my maximum because my back is really working, so the muscles are tensed. And now let's create this movement inside in the hips and see if you can lift it more up. Probably you will be able to. And now push it forward and see that the movement further is blocked, and then put it in and you can lift it more so you have more freedom really. And again, forward and outside, and probably this is blocking the knee too, and inside, and you have more freedom. Of course it is hard in the static position, this is not supposed to be like that, but in dynamics you can hurt your back, so it's best not to try a baleo with this outer movement in your hips because you can hurt yourself. But if you have this inside, no problems, it's very easy, it doesn't need any special movement. Another leg for sure. So first of all, this movement outside, ribs closed, not to make it too hard, and lift it. So yeah, you can't go further. And then you have this movement inside, and you release your body much more. And then you go outside, and it is blocked again, and then you release it with this inside movement, and outside, and inside. Okay, very well. Do you want to try doing it with the music? Because yeah, we don't have much time, so probably without music, but if you have time at home, have a try. So what's happening in this idea? It's the same idea of projection in the rib as we did yesterday, projection, holding inside, and then passing this information to the knee of your base leg. That's all. That's pretty easy. It's not hard, but if this part is not working, it's not passing the information from the center, from the ribs to the knee, then yeah, it is pretty hard and you have to work with your free leg. But in tango, no movement happens in the free leg only, but for some adornos. This is an exception. All the rest happens in the center and then is passed to the base leg and to the free leg. So in case of the front baleo, for example, information in the ribs is passed by the hip joint to the knee and happens the baleo. In case of back baleo, it's just another rib and that's all. Rib, hip, then knee, and then happens the baleo. This is pretty easy, and I hope this little movement in your hip joints, which is really just 1 centimeter work, will really improve your balance, improve your connection with the partner. And well, if you knew about it before, then no problem, you have just worked with it again. Probably you now understand it better. But if it's the first time you've met this idea, just think of it when you have free time, and I promise it will work. And hi from Teddy. Okay, feel free to turn on your microphone, say something if you want to. How are you feeling? Warmed up? Good, I see you smiling, that's absolutely cool. So we are continuing with our classes. In an hour and 15 minutes will be a class about makeup by Anna Lebedeva. And this is only for the girls, unless you guys have a ton of cosmetics, foundation, lipsticks, and all that in your house. But if you have a girlfriend, a wife, or a daughter nearby, maybe she will be interested. You can invite her to the screen. This is not about tango, this is just about makeup. And then in an hour after this will be the class by Laisa, so it's just the same as usual. We're following the same timetable. See you again, see you at the classes, because I normally go to almost all of them. Even if you do not see me, I am there. Okay, bye-bye, and see you pretty soon. Alexander, we can turn it off. Okay, he will.